As NATO leaders gather in Washington, the long-anticipated transfer of F-16 fighter jets to Ukraine has finally begun. Watch this next report to know how these American jets mark a significant milestone in Western support for Kyiv, but its impact on the ongoing conflict with Russia may be less dramatic than any hope.
Ukraine's wait is ending. Its F-16s are finally coming. The arrival of the jets signals a significant step in bolstering Ukrainian defenses against Russia's relentless assault.
I'm also pleased to announce that as we speak, the transfer of F-16 jets is underway, coming from Denmark, coming from the Netherlands, and those jets will be flying in the skies of Ukraine this summer to make sure that Ukraine can continue to effectively defend itself against the Russian aggression.
But despite their imminent arrival, the impact of the F-16s on the Ukraine battlefield is still in doubt. In anticipation of these jets, Russia has significantly upgraded its air defenses, effectively neutralizing any element of surprise. The F-16 Fighting Falcon, a multi-role fighter jet developed in the 1970s, has been the mainstay of Western air forces for decades. Known for its agility and versatility, the F-16 can perform air-to-air combat, ground attacks and reconnaissance missions. Its advanced avionics and ability to carry a wide range of weapons makes it a potent platform. However, the effectiveness in the Ukrainian theater of war is subject to numerous constraints. Over the past few weeks, Russia has intensified military pressure on Kyiv, both launching large-scale strikes on Ukrainian air bases, targeting locations like Mirhorod, Poltava and Kryvyi Rih. Ukrainian soldiers and activists are questioning the failure of their air force in protecting airfields, despite knowing the F-16s are on their way. This highlights the ongoing challenges in utilizing the jets effectively.
Russia is striking all airfields, potential F-16 bases every day, including attempts to damage airstrips and infrastructure. These continuous strikes have not paused for the last 2 months at least.
Moreover, the F-16 are not a panacea for Ukraine's air defense challenges. The jets face formidable obstacles from Russia's sophisticated S-400 air defense systems and advanced electronic warfare capabilities. The effectiveness of Ukraine's F-16 force hinges on various factors: the number of jets provided, their specific armament and upgrades, the proficiency of Ukrainian pilots, and the robustness of maintenance operations in a war zone. The F-16s may enhance Ukraine's air defense capabilities to some extent, offering improved protection against Russian bombardments and potentially allowing for more effective close air support of ground operations. But the jets' survivability in contested airspace and their application in various combat scenarios will be critical factors in determining the course of the war. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
Edward P. Joseph is a senior fellow at the Johns Hopkins University School of Advanced International Studies, a foreign policy analyst, and also a former U.S. Army helicopter pilot, is now joining us from Washington, D.C. Mr. Joseph, good to see you and welcome. Will the delivery of F-16 fighter jets have any impact on the Russia-Ukraine war, you think?
Yes, Eric, first, good to be with you and your viewers. And the answer to that is absolutely yes. It's not that people misunderstand what happens when you introduce a new sophisticated weapon system like the F-16 into an active battlefield, active theater, as is the case in Ukraine. They think, oh, well, this is going to have this immediate military impact, and it's going to immediately change this calculus on the ground. That's a potential. But the real point here, the real impact is what it does to the adversary, the enemy of the Ukrainians, which are the Russians. And what this does is it puts the F-16s put an array, a vast array of Russian targets at risk. So it's not that all of a sudden these F-16s are going to take out all of those targets. It's that Russia now has to plan for the capabilities, the remarkable and highly impactful capabilities of the F-16 and take measures to protect those targets, which in turn affect what Russia can do in the battle space itself. And that creates, in other words, the F-16s introduce complications for Russia, and therefore they do affect the battle space, and they affect what Russia can do and its approach to the war, besides alone what the targets are that the F-16s will actually engage. Please.
Mr. Joseph, let's flip the coin now. How are the Russians prepared to counter the F-16s? Because this matter has been in the public domain for a year now, that Kyiv's allies will be providing these fighter jets to Ukrainian forces.
It's a very important question, Eric, and we come to both the tactical question as to how the military will respond, and we also come to the political and the impact on morale, which will be completely inverse in both Ukraine and within Russia. So let's come to the tactical sense. Yes, now Russian military planners will have to take into account the range of the F-16 and the fact that it extends the Ukrainian ability to project force much further than it did in the past. And this affects both what Russia can do offensively, and it affects how Russia will deploy its air defense systems. So it's an enormous complicating factor for Russian military planners that will affect their ability, for example, to conduct offensive operations. So it's not just about, well, they'll position the S-400s here and that way they'll neutralize the F-16. It's a fact that in so doing, they will introduce other vulnerabilities that Ukraine can take care of. And that, again, this is all about complicating the decision-making of your adversary. And that's what the F-16s do at a minimum, in addition to putting targets at risk that Russia is unable to protect against an F-16 strike. So that's the first part. But the second part is equally important, and that is the political and the morale impact. So you see with this comes as 32 NATO allies meet in Washington, celebrating the 75th anniversary of NATO. This is, for Russia in and of itself, a huge blow to see this unity and unanimity, including not just from NATO, the European Union. And I was present last night when the senior European Union foreign policy official, Josep Borrell, made a strong speech completely in solidarity with NATO as the primary territorial defense of Europe, and completely in solidarity with the Allied effort, the European Union effort, the NATO effort to support Ukraine in its defense against Russian aggression. Mr. Borrell, again, speaking for all 27 EU nations, was 100% aligned and speaking against any type of false, fake negotiations that would allow Vladimir Putin to take advantage of his aggression and characterize this as a threat to European security. And obviously it's a threat more widely. And the U.S. recognizes that threat, of course, under President Biden. So F-16s are significant as well in that they're a further demonstration of Western resolve, a further demonstration of their belief in Ukraine and its abilities to accept and process highly sophisticated Western weaponry, in addition to the sophisticated weaponry that Ukraine itself is producing, for example, its own drone systems. So this is a positive, this is a morale boost to Vladimir Zelensky and the Ukrainian people, and it is a significant impact to the negative impact on President Putin and the Kremlin. Please.
All right, Mr. Joseph, we are running out of time. Thank you very much for your time. We have to leave it there. I've been talking to Mr. Edward P. Joseph, who's a senior fellow at the Johns Hopkins University. Mr. Joseph, thank you for talking to us today.
You're welcome.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.